Welcome to the Limitless Gratitude Podcast. I'm your host, RaMeka. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we can be grateful that God directs our paths. It's the beginning of a new year. We really need God to direct our path. So first, let's just be grateful that God directs our path. All we have to do is acknowledge him. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So we have a part we have to play, but we do our part and we can trust God to take care of the rest. We need to acknowledge our need for him, and he will direct our paths. And we know that God sees the beginning from the end from the beginning. He's Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. So we know when God directs us, it's going to be for our good. We just need to remember to go to him, to ask him to direct us. So let's be grateful today as we start this new year that we can trust God. We can ask God to order our steps, to direct our paths this year so that we can make the right decisions and the right choices. I think, though, probably just the difficult thing is just knowing when God is directing our path. I mean, of course, we know it's however he may lead us, it's going to be according to his word. It's going to be based on his word. It's going to follow his word. But a lot of times I know it's for me personally, it's difficult to know, like if I'm praying about something, it's difficult to know, like, okay, what am I supposed to do? What should I do? Even if I'm praying, it's like, how do I know what the answer is? And a lot of times we may not know, but also maybe God is directing our paths even when we may not realize it. But I think the important thing is just as it says in verse 6 of chapter 3 in Proverbs, I think the important thing is just acknowledging him and trust that he will direct our path in the direction that it needs to go. Something that I pray sometimes is, God, close all the wrong doors. I don't want to make the wrong decisions. I just don't trust myself. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't even want the option to even make the wrong decision. And so in my prayer, a lot of times I've been praying, God, close all the wrong doors, all the doors that you don't want me to walk through. Please close those doors and open the right door. Right. So that's my only option. And so I'm just grateful. We can be grateful. You can be grateful that if we acknowledge God, he will direct our paths because his word is true and his word will never fail us. He knows the path that we should take. He knows how it looks now and how it's going to look in the future. He knows what the outcome of every situation is. We only see what is in front of us, but God sees what's ahead of us. That's the great thing about serving the one true and living God. He's not just a God of here and now, but he is the God who knows our past, our present, and our future. He watches over us. He knows how to direct our paths. He knows the best path that you should take. Sometimes we might think one path is the best path, but God, he knows which path is best for us. And he knows what we need, what we're going to need. And he truly does have our best interests in mind, right? He came that we might have life and that more abundantly. Like God wants us to have a wonderful life. We just need to maybe just trust him more. I know I need to really trust him more, that whenever he's directing me, that I know that it's for my good and for his glory. All we have to do, though, we do have to do our part. We do have a part to play. We have to acknowledge and believe that God is able to show us the best path to take, whether it's regarding our job, where to live, relationships, finances, our health, every area, our mental, our physical, our emotional and spiritual well-being, we can trust God with it. So let's take a moment and think about, maybe write it down. How has God directed your path? How would you like for God to direct your path this year as it's still the beginning of a new year? What ways would you like for God to direct your path? Acknowledge him. And we know that by acknowledging him, he'll direct us because we need it. I know I need it. we need it. And, the podcast, the name of this podcast, Limitless Gratitude, really comes from knowing that our God is limitless. And so let's just think about, how has God directed your path, and how do you want him to direct your path? And just remember that he cares about every single detail of your life. I truly believe there is nothing too small to pray about. There's nothing too big to pray about. And so what is it that you want God to do? How do you want him to direct your paths? And just remember that he cares about every single detail of your life. And all we have to do is trust him with every single part of our lives. And so let's be grateful that God directs our paths. And that's something we can be excited about, because he wants the best for you. He wants the best for us. Thank God for wanting the best for us. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Limitless Gratitude Podcast. As always, peace, love, and joy.